sorry, I just asked, we talked about salaries, and did we get a new, we're just talking about the beach help, and we got our staff lined up for the beach this summer. We have some new people coming.
We're going to have to get some new people, but I have a few that I don't want to train.
What we discussed was that we have returning staff, and then we were going to go the other route again, get the word out,
Our deadline
put the
might
connection
go by
out.
April 15th as far as their interest, and then my hiring will be finished by April 30th.
And you're going to reach out to my staff that was kind of community services again to help try to find new to work with.
All of our folks are excited to come back on the 15th.
Key players coming back from last year?
Yes.
Okay, so.
We didn't meet this month.
No, there's no
So
report,
there's
that was my
yeah.
question. Okay. Marketing Public Outreach Committee, any report? Okay. LAFCO Ad Hoc Committee, any report?
A short one. The committee did meet a couple of weeks ago, and Rich Bartolini, who's the executive officer of the LAFCO, joined us and got our group updated on what's currently going on with LAFCO in the area and all that kind of good stuff. And there was lots of questions that we had for him, and he had lots of answers, but we've come to the conclusion that we are going to make an arrangement to meet in Milford. So we're in the process of scheduling a meeting for the committee to meet with him with a ton of questions. So until we get some more answers, I have nothing really to present to the board as far as direction.
Okay.
But hopefully soon.
Now we're going to regress to 4D. I see Mr. Ramsey's here.
As I think all of you know, we talked about having a Russian River Memorial Day Festival in the past several months. It's scheduled for, and I apologize if it was short one or two hours. It's scheduled for Memorial Day, Saturday, between noon and 5, noon and 6. So far we have someone doing the barbecue that's been lined up. We have a band lined up. We have beverages. I've talked to a couple people at Park and Rec as far as being a co-sponsor.
Who did you talk to?
Talking to Dawn, mentioning Steve.
But we didn't give an answer. I mean, we talked about it, but we haven't got an answer back. What we were talking about tonight is our names on there, and the full board didn't know anything about it.
Okay. So, I apologize for miscommunication. Even tonight, I'm learning changes. This is not something that was set in concrete several months ago. Basically, it was an idea to promote the town. Supposedly, we wanted to show the town off for the beginning of the summer. There are a lot of community groups working together, such as Friends in Monte Rio. We have people from these groups here. Mary Baker with the Chamber, reviewed for a triangle, which should be done by Memorial Day. Our downtown streets should have been repaid by Memorial Day. Now it appears that they've been repaid August 5th. What else? The pink elephant, making progress, trying to get reopened. That was something also that we were hoping to have done by Memorial Day to kick off for the community.
What is the new deadline, or the new?
I still have to have another meeting with Tom. I don't know. The Historical Society is very involved in the group. As you know, last year they did a historical plaque for the Marshall House, and they wanted to do one every year. This year they wanted to do one with the pink elephant. I need again to talk to Tom to see where he stands with that. And if that doesn't work out, the Historical Society would like to do a dedication plaque for the community center here. This is also, besides showing off the community, also a fundraiser for the groups. The steering committee has requested that Park and Rec, we don't know what fundraiser you know, and there's no wedding, that's another option. They can show the historical films here. But originally our intent was just to use the amphitheater and leave this available for weddings.
Are you still wanting to do the amphitheater?
Yes.
So the amphitheater is going to be your primary location?
Right.
And
That was bands, barbecue, right? The booths, all the community groups will have information presentations. There's lots of things for kids,
Yeah.
pony rides.
I think the thing that we got confused early on, Chuck, was, well, I think everybody probably agrees that this is a good idea. There's not been anything in writing, nothing concrete, no kind of schedule. You know, we kind of need to know what to ask you for based on what kind of event you're holding. Then we can say, okay, that's great, you're going to need portables, we have insurance, who's going to get that for you?
Right, and we have talked about that.
Yes, we
You
have.
talked to Diane. Diane sent me information on getting the rider for the insurance. We talked to Unicycle for the days. So we still have porta potties. You know, these are really smaller issues when we don't even have the venue down. We don't know where the historical site is doing the platform.
Right. So are you sure that this event is happening? Right?
Yes,
Oh, yes, happening.
yes. And I've sent letters to inviting the governor, Gavin Newsom.
Then we need to pin down the venues. That's what needs to happen next, so that you can then.
So the only question, you know, in my mind on the venue is whether we'll be doing something with the tank or the community center.
But you said you need the amphitheater broken.
Right.
Do I understand that?
Yes, we need the amphitheater for the space.
And that's what we had talked
For the
about
amphitheater.
before, just the amphitheater.
Wouldn't it make sense to
Chuck isn't here.
go ahead and just, since I don't believe that there's a wedding currently or any type of event planned for that Saturday here in the community center, to go ahead and just book it? And though you guys say you can plan your event, I mean, it's only a month and a half out.
Prefer the amphitheater.
Well, there's no reason you probably.
Just because of the.
Well, I think we get
You
it.
could do both.
Yeah.
I mean,
How many people are you expecting to attend this?
I have no
it's the opening of the beach that weekend, that day.
What's the date?
March, May 25th,
Memorial Day.
Saturday, Memorial Day weekend.
Okay.
Is there an event at all scheduled for that weekend? I don't know.
No, the next event is the 2nd of June,
Yeah.
the Fight Man.
I mean, it would just make sense maybe if you guys had if you knew what properties you wanted and you said this is what we need, and then you guys just plan, and then we can see if we can work it out. And then once those plans are complete, then we can look at, I know we're going to need insurance. You need to get started on that.
Right,
We really can't do
Diane
it until we
sent
have a
that
contract
information.
signed. Because there's no formal agreement between us, so we need to get that one done.
I agree.
What do we have to do to get the formal agreement?
Well, we need
Write
to-
it up, or do you write it up, or do we write it up?
I need to sit down with somebody
Okay.
representing this organization,
Okay.
and we can plug in that information tonight if the board agrees that they want to co-sponsor.
And
So this goes back to
who
the
is it were you
discussion.
co-sponsoring with? I mean, who
Well,
are you
well,
speaking for?
Friends of Monte Rio, Monte Rio Chamber of Commerce,
Russian
Barstow.
Historical Society.
Well, they aren't all going to sign the
Yeah.
contract. Who's going to sign the contract?
This is just between the Monte Rio Rec and Park District. The
And-
contract, yeah.
And the
And
Friends.
It'd be Russian River Alliance.
It's not the Friends of Monte Rio. Russian River going to have babies.
This goes back to the sponsorship discussion we just had, and I guess Chuck wasn't in the room because you were in Spanish class, but as far as formalizing these relationships, because, I mean, I think I heard you just say that he wants these properties that, at a comp, and that they'll do something. But, in other words, that's kind of like the something. Don't these arrangements need to be formalized a little bit as far as, you know, us
And-
requesting an accounting, us requesting, I know it came up with the car show last year and people weren't too happy. But that's what puts us in kind of like a uncomfortable, definitely puts me in an uncomfortable position.
Is
And
it
I think,
Russian River
you know, I think
Alliance
that
then?
to
We need
sort of explain
expectations
that,
and
this is
deliverables.
you know, a fundraising event.
Sure.
It promotes the town, which promotes Park and Rec properties. I would assume Park and Rec would have an information booth there to promote, you know, weddings.
That's quite an assumption, because we don't really have And staff we're opening the that
beach.
weekend. And we're opening the beach that weekend, I mean, we're all, like, It's at our a huge limit that day. weekend. So, you know, those are the kinds of things we need to sit down and, you know, spend 45 minutes to an hour together working on the details of whatever it is that you really want, to make sure that it's something we can do that makes sense, and then ask those questions. Can we get an accounting at the end of all of this? Who
Yes.
is all involved in all of this?
Yes, there will be.
Are you ticketing this
You can get an
event?
accounting.
You know,
What
what organization is actually the organization that's the host, I mean, that's doing it? That's signing the contract?
The Russian River Alliance will sign the contract.
Okay.
The steering committee has Roby with Historical Society, Renetta James from Floresville, Chamber of Commerce,
Vicki Nicholson.
and Vicki Nicholson of Boston Historical Society.
What does the board think?
So from my perspective, a lot of those are details that's what we have you here to work out the details of. So I would just want to know that we have the right documents in place from a liability perspective. I would support us being a partner at the table, and the way that we are the partner at the table is to offer the space at no charge. I think that's reasonable. So I think that co-sponsorship, that's the terminology that's been used before to basically say you get to use the space for free, and that's our way of showing support for it. So I would say yes to that. I would just want to make sure from a contractual perspective that we have everything in place on the event management side.
How is
And
this
then I would support
fundraising?
it.
Where does the...
We're selling tickets to the barbecues. We're also going
Gotcha.
to individual sponsors, corporate sponsorships.
Well, I'm in total agreement with Katrina. I think, you know, to be frank, Chuck, and this came up when you were not here, is that, you know, we saw these flyers out and about.
Could not have seen those flyers. I'm the only one who was bringing them.
No, I sent the flyer
You
to
did.
Dawn.
Okay.
Like, you know,
Well, that's right.
something concrete, and I said this is the most concrete we have.
It's,
So,
So, to continue, you know, it's just, I think we would all like to sponsor, we just like to be asked, and there's certain things that we need to do, which is prompting us to come up with this now sponsorship policy that we're going to be doing for the future. So, I would certainly support the district partnering with them and co-sponsoring, or whatever the phrase is.
Yeah, I see no problem as long as we follow the normal
And we work together, you know, there's communication, so we're all on the same page, because there are certain things, I mean, there's going to have to be porta potties probably.
It's going to have to be a cleanup effort too.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times what happens is the group is unprepared for what happens after
The
that.
mess.
And we all can get left with it. And that's where it's kind of embarrassing to have that conversation later. So we have, those are the things we have to talk
no,
about.
that's good. And we also have monthly meetings, so I would like it, since we have, you know, a representative from each community group or co-sponsor, if we could get someone from Park and Rec to give input so that we can do it right, and we know what's going on.
When's your next meeting and where?
It's here.
The history room, third Thursday, 6 o'clock.
Awesome.
Okay.
Okay.
We can knock out all those questions and then I'll report via email back.
Yeah, you'll have all the info you need. Did you have a question, Roby?
Yeah, the Historical Society Board, I'm not on the board, I'm just carrying the message. They have voted definitely they would like to do a plaque on this building. The Pink Elephant has been inconsistent in communicating to the Historical Society whether or not it's going to be open, whether or not they want the plaque. So we decided, or the board decided at their last meeting last week that they couldn't live with this inconsistency and they wanted to support and give recognition to the Reckitt Park building and board, current board.
Could we bring it up facilities next week and get back to you?
Great.
If you don't mind, would that work, Kathy?
Yeah, thanks.
Absolutely, our facility meeting, Roby, is
Next
next
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Okay.
You don't have to be there if you don't want to, but we'll bring it up and talk about it.
What time?
It's 8:30.
8:30.
8:30, okay.
AM,
And,
AM.
that's hard. And we would, as I said, work with Stephanie and Brian for location and design and content of the plaque.
The one thing I would suggest, Roby, is if you could forward the Marshall House plaque as an example. So
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah, I was going to make a pitch for the quality. You've got fantastic work on the Marshall House plaque. The
Yeah.
Marshall House is at the Senior Center in Birdville. For anybody who hasn't seen it, drive by, check it out, it's absolutely beautifully done, so.
Yeah, it
And
has
I think
the
that's a good
state
point for the board to see a sample.
Thank you for the consideration. I think
Yeah, it
would
has
be
the
really
state
great.
seal, and then it'll be a history, short history, and it will be on marble or granite.
Great.
Okay, so I guess the last thing we need then is a board approval of sponsoring this event, so. We have to do the formal approval. Have a vote.
I'll move we sponsor this event.
Okay, Peter, second.
I'll second.
Gene, second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
No, I'm not opposing, can we just, did we, I.
You want to discuss?
Just-
Okay,
yeah,
excuse me. The motion's
yeah,
made,
quick-
we'll discuss.
Just a quick discussion, I guess with a caveat, I just want to make that it's fully past Dawn's vetting as our event manager.
Right.
Yeah,
We'll
that's,
get with Dawn and get-
yes,
get-
yeah, that's my only idea, as long as I'll bring things in place.
So, and we can deal with that one? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so was there any correspondence?
Yep.
Okay, the LAFCO expenditure approval vote is on the agenda. So the next thing is election consolidation request. We need a roll call vote.
It was introduced by you.
Introduced by.
At the red, is it in here, okay?
Yes.
There it is.
All right, Steve Baxman.
Hold on, will you tell me what this is?
What this is that every year we have to adopt, this just has to do with it's not every year, for the election. It's basically saying that as a district, we are going to be in the pool of election costs, rather than we're going to go out and publish our own ad, and we're going to go, so that's really all
Got
it
it.
is.
Okay. Go
So,
ahead.
we requested consolidation. Steve Baxman?
Yes.
Peter Andrews?
Aye.
Kathy LaPlante?
Aye.
Jean Sasso? Aye. Katrina Thornton? Aye.
Okay, thank you. Next, resolution, revision of 2012-2013 final budget for Creekside Park.
Okay, what these two things are is they're really almost like paper, they don't really matter. I spoke with Dennis Reedy, and it's pretty much like our money's coming in and it's going out. The additional funding that Stephanie had mentioned in this meeting that we're receiving from Sonoma County and from Open Space. In other words, we had set our budget and said this is all we're going to spend in this fiscal year, so we have to add on to the Creekside side because the money's coming in and the money's going out. So that's exactly what this is. So it was introduced by you.
Oh, yeah.
Would you introduce this, please?
We need a motion.
A discussion?
Discussion?
No discussion? Yes.
Yeah, we'll have discussion.
Okay.
Well, first we'll make the motion, then we'll discuss.
Okay.
We need a motion.
I move that we approve the resolution to adjust our budget on record with the county for the Creekside Park project to the $1,632,118.20.
I'll second it.
Peter, second. Okay, now we'll have a discussion. Any discussion? Board members?
Yes. Well, we were all here with this same resolution with a slightly different number, what, 7 months? Last August. Last August, we approved 1.13, and now it's 1.632. So we've added $519,000 to the project. Is that right?
Yes.
And is there a breakdown of the 519?
Well, 389,000 came from the open space district.
Yeah.
Sonoma County.
And,
I have it in my office, I can show it to you.
well,
Did
we
it add up?
verbalized it, I'm sure.
It's total. And then the other thing is that this is a budget for our budget year 2012-2013, which means we're saying we're going to spend that money by June 30.
We're saying, and then we're hoping we are.
We
Yes.
will.
In other words, this just keeps, as Dennis pointed out at county, the money is actually coming in here to the district. It's going to come in and it's going to go out. So if it doesn't happen, it's not going to
So
really
all
make
these
a
other
difference.
projects, the other $519,000 worth of projects will be run in parallel,
Correct.
not serially in any way. We're increasing the staff to do these things.
No, it's just Creekside. I don't know what you mean we're increasing.
The $519,000 represents a series of little mini projects, some big
Within
ones,
Creekside.
That,
Within Creekside.
at Creekside,
At
yes,
Creekside.
but things that weren't in the original proposal.
No, no. I'm
Rain
correct to
barrel?
assume it's the
Rain
original
barrel.
proposal, but it's finding funding for those proposals, finding additional funding for the original scope. As the scope of the project, can you explain this better, Stephanie?
I haven't heard the question yet.
Peter's asking if you're changing the scope of the project or the staffing, and it's not, in other words, the additional funding, it's just covering the project. We've just found funding sources for say, the bus turnaround. We've got the money from, we've got the commitments for the money. So I guess I'm not clear on your question either.
Last August, we approved 1.1 million for
Because that's what we
a
have.
certain set of things.
That's how much
That's what
money
we
we
have.
have.
Well outlined, documented, they didn't include rain harvesting, it didn't include this kind of thing, and that they didn't create trails to go to the state. There's a lot of things they didn't, that money didn't include. We've gone out to get additional funding for additional things, but those things have to be done, right? They weren't funded in the 1.1. Now, they're funded by this additional $500,000.
Right.
Yeah, I know. I mean, when Stephanie didn't respond to Diane, I knew that I was on the right tack. I mean, I'm asking a valid question. And so my question to Ryan and Stephanie is, it seemingly a few months ago, just 3 or 4 months ago, was a mind-bogglingly impossible task to get it all done by June. Now we're going to do 50% more than we were going to do in November, December. 47% more, another $500,000 worth of work, and we're going to squeeze it in by June. I mean, were we really that far off in November, December?
No, I wouldn't say we were that far off because the bid that we got from Cars Construction was for the whole package, and that was part of the plan, was that ultimately to be able to go to these organizations and say, we need you to help partner with us, you have to have a definite dollar amount. Contractors to be ready to do it. I mean, basically, if we had gone to them and not had a specific budget, we wouldn't be able to get the funding. So part of the whole bid process was to have, the entire wish list, so then we could approach these organizations that many of them were already agreeing to be partners and say, okay, now this is the exact amount we need to be able to do these things. And so it's leveraging based on a real number, based on a real project.
There hasn't been anything else added to the scope of work for Creekside of additional funding. It was to help with that difference between what redevelopment gave us and what the bid was from Cars Construction.
So part of it is, Peter, going back to your question, is that there was a wish list that included the bid, the whole bid set. And then we went through with the facilities committee and took a lot out to be able to get down to the number that was acceptable to the board at the time. So since we've been able to get additional funding, we've been able to bring some of the things that were cut out back into the project.
So there's nothing new. It's just stuff that we couldn't afford when we did the original bid, and now as money comes in, we can afford to finish up what the original project was.
Right.
So there's nothing new added to the project. It's just that new money came in and we can do the stuff we couldn't do with the original money we got.
It's the same thing as actually the use permit, because the redevelopment funding was available, there was a decision made to actually go for phase 1 and 2. As far as getting the use permit to approve a bigger project than we knew we could ever manage. But it allows us at this point to be able to go and look for funding to do phase 2 because it's been approved, and then we're hoping to leverage all the funding we have from phase 1 to look attractive to another organization so that the rest of the building could be improved. Because right now it's just, it's 1,000 square feet of a 9,000 square foot building.
So, back to the question of getting it done in the amount of time, I thought, everybody connected with this thought it was really critical to be, and potentially risky to even look at being able to be done by June 30th, and now
And some
we're
of
going
that.
to do a lot more work than we thought we were going to do when we were making those statements.
No, I think the whole project could have been accomplished at that time with the maximum funding if it were available. But I think what ultimately happened is that the CASA Oversight Committee, which is the organization that is managing the dissolution of redevelopment, the Rec Park requested through the Facilities Committee to have an extension from June of 2013 to December as a cushion, and that was suggested by John Haig because he said, look, you may make it by June 30th, but if you don't, let's request that they approve that, which they did do in March. So they approved that in March, that we have an extension to December should we need it. The efficiency of construction is to get it done as fast as possible, not drag it out. So, you know, we're still pushing, the contractor still is shooting for the end of June to have the project done. Should we slide into July? You know, it's not a problem at this point. The deadline was when the redevelopment had a gun to our head saying you have to be done by then or you lose the money. That was the thing that was a concern. So now that they've given us to December, that kind of fear has been reduced. Brian?
Okay.
I also have one more comment about it. It has to do with the fact that the money that is on hand that is from redevelopment does still have a sunset clause associated with it. What that is, I think, is something saying it's a little bit more gray now than it used to be. But the additional funding that you're looking at tonight does not have that same kind of sunset clause. In fact, the open space district funding has a 5-year term under which it can be completed. With the efficiency of construction, it makes sense to do it all at one time. So we're definitely getting a benefit for that. So, and what the terms are associated with the Sonoma County Transit and the Air Pollution Control District and the Water Agency funding are, I'm sure, much longer than the amount of time we're going to be using it because it's going to be done in several months. So this is one clarification.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, motion second on the floor, all in favor?
No, it's a roll call.
Melissa?
Actually, I do have one more question.
Okay.
It's the same question I had last August, and I've got to ask it just formally. Where's the detailed budget? We're approving the budget, actually, and we're just approving the number. I know we went through this last August. So.
The budget lives in Diane's office.
No.
Right. For Creekside.
No.
Binder for
It's
Creekside.
the binder for Creekside. It's a project. It's a project statement and the scope of the project. It's not a budget as in an operating budget, because there is no operating budget. So it would have been the grant, the initial grant, and everything that Stephanie and Brian did to.
This budget?
Everything from Creekside's available.
Yeah, we discussed it in the facilities committee.
Anytime anyone wants to come look at it, more than welcome.
I mean, I guess
Okay.
the budget was submitted to get the grant.
Okay, so each resolution is a roll call vote, right?
Yes,
Are
this
we
is
ready?
a roll call.
Okay.
Steve Baxman.
Aye.
Katrina Thurman.
Aye.
Kathy LaPlante.
Aye.
Jean Sasso.
Aye.
Peter Andrews.
Aye.
Okay, the last one is the revision of the 2012-2013 appropriation limit for Creekside Park.
All that is the appropriation, whatever that is, county speak, that is the same exact number as, basically saying we're not going to spend more than this.
There's 2 appropriation limits on here.
Yes, our appropriation limit is up above for our district, $273,315.
And that's not a change.
That is not a
That's
change.
the same as we saw last.
Correct.
We've already approved.
And then under the index in Creekside Park, in 752303, the number has increased to the amount that we just discussed as far as the Creekside Park budget increase. But the appropriation limit for the entire district, both indexes, is stated on this resolution. So we have to likewise increase that.
Okay, did you get a motion?
I move that we adopt the resolution of increasing our appropriations limit for Creekside, maintaining the same limit for
the district budget itself.
We have a second. Peter? Okay, any more discussion? If not, ready for a roll call vote?
Steve Baxman.
Aye.
Katrina Thurman.
Aye.
Kathy LaPlante.
Aye.
Jean Sasso.
Aye.
Peter Andrews.
Aye.
Okay, is that the meeting? Okay, not saying nothing else, that's the meeting, and it is 7:36. Wow, it's a long meeting.